You had a comment.
Yeah, if I could just pick up on that. And I'm teasing Julius, obviously, when I move away. He, by no means, is the city of Cleveland or Northeast Ohio the only place in the state of Ohio that faces what we call these combined sewer overflow or CSO issues. They're happening all over. It's a huge problem for the state, and it's a huge problem for the country. In part, I think that's why in the federal stimulus bill, which was recently enacted, that I think everyone's paying a lot of attention to, there was a fair amount of money made available to help try to address the kind of CSO problems that Julius is talking about. I can tell you that yesterday I met with a number of mayors from Northwest Ohio, small towns and large, who came in and basically said, we know we have overflow problems. The money that it will take to fix these overflow problems is a very large amount, and a lot of our communities are not thriving with the economy being bad, and maybe it's a small town where a lot of people are on fixed incomes, and to come up with the money, how do you come up with the money? Do you loan the money? At what rates? What is that going to do to sewer rates? Are people going to be able to afford those increased rates? It is, I think, in terms of infrastructure across the United States, this issue of deteriorating sewer systems and CSOs is one of the biggest problems that we face, because it will require billions and billions and billions of dollars across the country. And Julius said, you've invested $2 billion over the last 30 years. I mean, just multiply that, the work that has to be done throughout the United States, and it is a problem of staggering dimension.
Dr. Ciaccia, you said that there was actually a number of things that you're working on right now in terms of trying to do that, and what sort of investments are you making, and what is it going to cost, do you expect, and how is that money going to be funded?
Well, our main method of controlling these overflows is to build these giant subway-style tunnels and for storage, and store it until such time that the storm period is over, and then we could dewater those tunnels and put it through the treatment process. Our program right now, what we're looking at is $2.7 billion over the next, well, we're negotiating with the EPA, and I don't want to negotiate from here, but right now they say 10 years, we're saying 30 years. So somewhere in between maybe we shall meet, but on that particular issue. But aside from that, we still have another $2.6 billion worth of investments that we have to make on our existing infrastructure. So that's $5.3 billion over the next, let's say, 30 years. And you escalate that, of course, you know, it's over $7 billion over the next 30 years. So I've informed my board, and Darnell Brown and Sheila Keller are here from our board, that, you know, we're looking anywhere between 15 and 18% increases yearly on an average. Now, you know, that's an average. So that's substantial in order to meet these obligations. But I think that the public all agrees that, you know, these combined sewer overflows are not acceptable, and that level of pollution going to the lake is not acceptable. So it's just something that we're going to have to address. Now, how we get there is still subject of the negotiations that we have going on with Chris's group at the Ohio EPA and the federal government, which is leading the particular negotiations that we're in.
If I may, just to put that in perspective,
Korleski.
the stimulus package, the ERA or ARA, depending on what you call it, provided a total of $6 billion for water infrastructure. $2 billion of that was for drinking water, $4 billion of that was for clean water. Now that's $4 billion for the entire United States. Ohio's share of that money will be $280 million, of which roughly 52 is for drinking water, the remainder is for clean water. That, by all accounts, that is a drop in the bucket. Even when you listen to the numbers that Julius is talking about, just for the city or the district alone, you see that the demand, to say the least, is outstripping the supply of dollars. And I don't have them.
And it's interesting, we have submitted $274 million worth of projects, so we'll take it, Chris. As small as it is, we'll take it.
So that at least, it helps a little, perhaps some stimulus money that might come our way. The rest is all rate hikes. So, I mean, that does put people in kind of an awkward position. Do you think it's that people are aware enough at this point of the value of water and the fact that this is actually, you know, in part educating the public about why these changes are necessary in order to protect the environment and our own health, really?
That's an excellent question. You know, having been in this business for a long time and having to be involved on a national level, you know, our water is our most undervalued asset that we can have. I mean, you show me a city out there that brags about how low their water and sewer rates are, and I'll show you a city that's not investing in its infrastructure. Okay, I mean, that's plain and simple, because these are very capital-intensive businesses. If your rates are low, you're doing nothing for your infrastructure. Okay, we here in Cleveland, we've had a consistent, over the last 15, 20 years, our leaders have bit the bullet. They've raised rates, and that's why we've been able to make the investments that we did. I mentioned $2 billion for Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Division of Waters, done $1 billion worth of work in the same time period. But you know, it's going to continue. I looked at what I pay for my water bill and we get billed here quarterly. You know, it's about $400 per quarter right now. You know, both combined water and sewer. I went and started adding up my cable, home phone, internet, cell phone, satellite radio. It was $900 a month. I mean, $900 a month.
I suppose it's fair to say that sewage is not quite as sexy as technology.
Well, you know, and that's right. That's right, and that's discretionary spending. Okay, and I may be a little higher than some of all of you, but I guarantee you, if you sit around and start adding up those bills, you'll find out that you'll come to the same conclusion I am, that the water what we're charging for water and wastewater is really an undervaluation of how important these assets are to us.
Go ahead, Mr. Korleski.
Think of the price of a gallon of water from your tap, 1 gallon. Now, last summer we were paying $4 a gallon for gasoline. Now it's down to roughly $2. Again, I like to sort of get a reality check to go back to developing countries. Imagine in Afghanistan or other companies we could think of, a gallon of clear, clean, drinkable, potable water. That's worth something because it's not easy to get. Here, out of the tap, there's your gallon of water, and it's very, very inexpensive compared to milk, gasoline, hairspray, nail polish, any other liquid that you can think of. If you put it on a gallon-by-gallon basis, you see how inexpensive water is. That's a wonderful thing, but I think that has led over many years, we very much take it for granted. And what I try to tell people is when you think about your ability to flush your toilet, your ability to get drinking water, to water your lawn, etc., you almost have to think about that like you know you're going to need a new roof at some point, and a new roof is not cheap. And you're like, oh, can we get a couple more years out of the roof? Can we get a couple more years out of the car? Can we get a couple more years out of these larger things? And I think we have to begin thinking about what we have taken for granted more in terms of this is expensive. This is expensive. And to do it right and to keep what we consider to be something that we cannot live without, clean water, ready supply of it, I think we have to understand that it is not, it's not free and it's not a gift. And it is something that we have to take care of. And it will cost a lot of money to do so.
Now, what about stormwater?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. That is the other water issue that has not been talked about so far. We've talked about the traditional gray infrastructure that we've all been dealing with.
Gray meaning pipes
and buildings and what have you. And now we need to start looking at the green infrastructure issues. And stormwater management is a real issue in this region and in many regions. And in our case, we have such a fragmented governmental arrangement here in this county, in this region, with all the different suburban communities, and you have streams and creeks and rivers running through all of them, and who manages them? Okay, you've got erosion going on, you've got blockages, you've got some parts of rivers and streams that are culverted, which are collapsing and deteriorated. Suburb A is doing a good job of it upstream, but or downstream, but Suburb B is not doing a good job of upstream, and it's defeating the purpose of managing the system. And so we at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, we're stepping into this arena now.